Hello everyone, welcome you all to AIK Pathshala. So in the last session, we have discussed what median is. Now in this session, let me introduce you some related terms called quantiles and percentiles. So before we go and understand the equivalent of standard deviation called mean absolute deviation. So first, let's understand what are quantiles and percentiles. So first, I will explain you what is percentile, so that explaining what quantile is becomes very, very straightforward. So let's go and take an example here. So let's assume I have an array with hundreds of values. So let's say this is my array, and this array is having, let's say, hundreds of values. Let's assume this array is a sorted array. This array is basically what I'm doing. This is a sorted. Fine. This is my sorted array. I just, let me put you this, let's put x s here is equal to this array. This means xs means this is a sorted array. X subscript s is means it is a sorted. So suppose if I have 100 values in this array, so my n will be equal to 100. This is my 100. So now given 100 values, there will be a value at the, let's say this is my, let me color it with different, this is the value at the first index. This is the value at the second index. This is the value of the third index, fourth index, so on, so forth till, let's say, this is the value at the, let's suppose 100 index. Fine. Now, because there are 100 values here, what will be the median? So median of x, basically what I am calculating, median of x. That's what I am calculating here. So median of x is, since you already have sorted, I have already sorted these values. So we take the 50th value corresponding to the 50th index. Let's say this is the 50th value. And this 50th value here, let's say some 50th value, let's say this is my x1. And let's suppose this is 51st value, which is, let's say, x2. Let's suppose. So 50th value corresponding to this 50th index and 51st value corresponding to the 51st index. And I'm assuming values to be x1 and x2, that is at the 50th index and the 51st index. So we take the average or the mean of x1 to calculate the median. We basically, what we will do, we will take mean of x1 comma x2, which is like x1 plus x2 by 2. This we know because here 100 is like an even number. So that's why we are taking the two middle values and then we are calculating the mean. We have taken the 50th percentile. So we have taken the 50th percentile value. Let me write here 50th percentile value. And what is my 15th percentile value of x? 50th percentile value of x is basically x as 50. Fine. Which is my median. If we have taken the 50th value in a sorted list of 100 values, so you pick the 50th value. So it's called 50th percentile value. And remember, this is a percentile. This is not a percentage. This is percentile. Now, percentile basically says, where do you lie in a sorted list? If you lie at the 50th rank, if you lie at the 50th rank, suppose I sort this array, I sort all of them. Since there are 100 objects, I have sorted them. So I can think of them like a, let's say, rank, right? So if the value is at the 50th position is called, so the value at the 50th position is called the 50th percentile value of X, right? Because I have assumed that this is an array and these are the indices of the array, let's say. So the value of X corresponding to the 50th value. So whatever the value is, this value could be any value depending upon what this array is, right? That is the 50th percentile value. So, and we know the 50th percentile value is nothing but your median, right? Similarly, what is the, let's say, 10th percentile value? Let me write here 10th percentile value of X. It will be in a sorted array, my value at the 10th position. So in this sorted array, you pick the 10th value corresponding to the 10th index. So what does 10th percentile value tell you? It tells you that 10% of points are roughly less than this value. It basically tells you, let's say this is my, let's understand this. If let's say this is my sorted array and these are my values in this sorted array, and what it means, let's say this is 1, 2, 3 till, let's say this is 10th and this goes on till, let's say 100. So this is the 10th value. What it means, what does 10th percentile value tells you? It tells you that 10% of values are roughly less than this value. 10% of the value points, 10% of the points are roughly less than this value. And about 90% of the points are greater than this value. That is, this is the 10% of values, 10% of values, and this is my 90% of value in a sorted list. All this is happening in a sorted list. So if my list is like this, access, so this 10% of the 10th percentile means 10% of the value are less than this, and 90% of my values are greater than this. That's what the percentile value is telling you. So the percentile value is telling you what percentage of points are less than this value and what percentage are greater than this value, right? So we call the 25th percentile. Let's suppose if I call 25th percentile. So what it means, 25th percentile? So 25th percentile value will tell you 25% of all your observation are less than this. Let's say this is 25th. Let's say this is my 58th. This is my, let's say, 75th. And this is my, let's say, 100th. These are percentile. So what this 25th percentile is telling me? This is telling me that 25% of my values are less than this. 25% of my values are less than this. And 75% of my values are greater than this value. That is 25% of values are lying here and 75% values are lying after this value. Now what does 50th percentile is nothing but your median, which means 50% of values are less than this and 50% of values are more than this. 50% of values are less than this and 50% of values are more than this. Let's understand this very clearly. Now, here 25 percentage of here, what it means? This 75, this means this 25% of values are greater than this and 75% of values are less than this. 75% of values are less than this. So and so forth. 100 means all values are less than 100 percentile. This simply means this is the maximum value. So quantile is just a term. So quantile is just a term. So if somebody tells me what is the third quantile, so this is my first quantile, this is my second quantile, this is my third quartile, and this is my fourth quartile. So first quartile is nothing but 25 percentile and fourth quartile is nothing but the maximum value. So, right? So this is very related terminology. Now let's write a code to calculate the quantiles. To write the code, I am just copying this code and I will make some changes in this code. So let's copy this code. You can, and let's paste it here. Let's paste it here. And now I am going to make changes in this code. So instead of this standard deviation, let's write here quantiles. First, Quantile, quantiles. Fine. Now, after that, np.std. Instead of this std, let's write percentiles. Percentile. Fine. Thereafter, iris setosa. This is petal length. After this petal length, I have to write this thing, comma, np dot a range, a range, and here 0, 100. I will explain you everything. First, let's write here simplify. Fine. Fine. So this is my first line. Now, same thing I am going to do in this line also. So here also make the same changes. Write percentile here. Then I'm just copying this same line here. Copy and let's just paste it here. Fine. Paste it here also. Paste it here. Fine. And here, instead of this std, make changes. Percentile, write percentile. So this is a very simple code. Now let's run this code and see what I am getting. So this is the value that I am getting here. Now let's understand what it means. So let's look at the quantiles here. NumPy basically has percentile function and you can say which percentile you want. Fine. So you can, I am saying that I want the percentiles between 0 to 100 with a gap of 25. So this is the minimum value. The minimum value we know it is 1 and here also it is coming 1. This is nothing but your, this is nothing, this 1.5, this is nothing, this is my 50th percentile or the median. So this is the 25th percentile, this is my 0th percentile, this is the 25th percentile, this is my 50th percentile, and this is my 75th percentile. So if you look at this code is very, very straightforward. You are saying that you want actually the reason we are getting this 25 25, 50 and 75 is because of this, because I said get me these values with a gap of 25. That's why I'm getting 0, 25 percentile, then 50th percentile, then 75. So get me the percentile values from 0 to 100 with a gap of 25. So of course 0 will be there. So 0 plus, if you let's say understand it like this, so you can also understand this like this. It's like 0, then 0 plus 25, then 25 plus 25, then 50 plus 25, which is 0, 25, 50, and 75. So that's why I am getting 0 percentile here, 25 percentile here, 50 percentile here, and 75 percentile here with the help of the code that I have written just now. So similarly, like we have calculated right now, we have simply calculated the percentiles. So similarly, you can also get, let's say, 90th percentile, right? So 90th, since 90th percentiles are very, very useful. So let me write a code for writing the 90th percentile. So how you will write the code for the 90th percentile? Simply what I'm going to do, let's copy this code from here and paste it in this cell. And this time I do not want a range of the percentile. That's why I do not need to write this np.arrange. Simply what I will delete all this. And instead of this thing, here I will write 90, 90. Here also I will write 90. Let's delete this and write 90. Here also just delete it and let's write 90. Fine. So if you write this and run this piece of code, you are getting this thing. Fine. Now let's understand. So let's look at the 90th percentile values, right? So the 90th percentile value for Setosa is 1.7. For Virginica and Versicolor, for Versicolor it's 4.8. And for Virginica, it's 6.31. Now you might say, why the heck this 90th percentile? Why did you pick up 90th percentile specifically? So let me give you an intuition of why I have picked this 90th percentile. So let me connect you with the real world use cases of this thing. So let's assume, let me open this pen. Okay. So let's assume you work at an e-commerce company. You can, let's take the example of Amazon. So let's take an example of e-commerce company like Amazon. E-commerce, C-O-M-M-E-R-S-E, e-commerce company like Amazon. Fine. So suppose I have an array, let's say, suppose I have an array of all the time it takes for a product to go from the time a person ordered to the time it's delivered to them. And this is the time. Let's say I have an array of all the time it's taking for a product to go from the time a person ordered to the time it's delivered to him. So let's assume I have the delivery time, right? This is, let's say, my delivery time, delivery time. It is in the form of an array. Let's say this is my delivery time. So it could be, let's say, 1 day. It could be, let's say, 1.5 days. It could be, let's say, 2 days. or so and so forth. So let's assume these are the delivery time of, let's say, 10,000 shipments. I'm writing here 10K. That means 10,000 shipments that Amazon did in a short duration of time, right? Now, I want to ask here, in problem like this, 90th percentile, sorry, in a problem like this, let's say 95th percentile is, let's suppose, 4 days. Let's suppose. And my 99th percentile is, let's suppose, 5.6 days. Let's suppose this. So these two numbers will tell me a lot about customer satisfaction. What this is telling me is that 99% of orders were delivered within 5.6 days from the time of placing the order to the time it was delivered to the customer, right? And that is good because 99 percentile of your customers got it within 5.5 days, let's say. Of course, there are 1% of users. There are 1% of the users or customers who place order who didn't reach it, who didn't get their placement, their delivery in, let's say, 5.6 days or 5.5 days. Now your question is, if you are managing the supply chain, if you are responsible for delivering the orders on time, you would say, okay, 1%, I need to double down and reduce this number. So if your 95th percentile is 4 days, you know that there are 5% of customers who are still not getting their product within 4 days. And now you would say, I want to understand why that's happening. So a single number like a 95th percentile or a 99th percentile would be extremely important in such cases. It's a single number that will help you very well in understanding whether your customers are happy or not. So a lot of time people use percentiles instead of standard deviations and things like that. So this is all for the percentile. In the next session, we will understand mean, median absolute deviation and IQR, interquartile range. So till then, keep smiling, keep learning, and see you in the next session. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming.